What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. We got a 7-round mock draft coming your way today. Pretty fun stuff. Before we get into the picks, I got to tease you guys a little bit here. Now, I do want to start things off by just giving a quick shout-out. Earlier this week, things got a little hectic, so sorry, Nicholas, but you are the lucky winner. So if you ever want to be featured on the show, I asked a couple days ago, hey, would you be afraid of facing Baker Mayfield twice if he was on the Steelers? Carr says no. I would love to face Baker twice a year. So shout out to you, Nicholas. But let's get into the mock draft now here. So the Browns' biggest needs, to kind of set the table a little bit now. I think it's edge. This is no particular order. Edge, wide receiver. You can flip-flop those two. If the rest of free agency is played out with no signing of either one, it's a coin toss. Defensive tackle's right there too. Then you got linebacker. You actually have from, Walker, JOK, Taki. You've got some good depth coming back, believe it or not. And then offensive tackle, just because Conklin's on the last year of his deal. He got injured pretty horrifically, sadly, last season. And you haven't seen Wills be 100% through a whole season yet. Now, are you guys going to watch the mock draft? Are you guys going to watch the NFL draft even though the Browns don't have a first-round pick? If so, thumbs up, hit that big icon right below. Let's look at Cleveland's draft picks, though. They don't have that first, but they do have a second, and it's the middle of the round, pick number 12 in round 2. They've got a middle round pick 3. They got that comp pick after Kwesi Adofo-Mensah went to Minnesota. So altogether, Cleveland has 7 picks, 3 of them in the top 100. So they do have a decent amount of ammunition to make some noise. So with that being said, when it was my turn in the mock draft, at pick number 44, here's who I was looking at. Here were my options. Devonte Wyatt, Sky Moore, Nick Bonito, Logan Hall, and Christian Watson. One of these guys stands out way more than the rest. Devonte Wyatt sticks out here in round 2. And I understand. Hey, I've seen him go in round 1 in a ton of mock drafts. No way the Browns get him. And that's fair. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But let's at least, get to know Devonte Wyatt if you don't know much about the guy. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in this draft class. He's right there with his teammate, Jordan Davis. He also fills a huge need for Cleveland at the defensive tackle spot. Because I've said before, I'm not a fan of rolling it with Togiai and Jordan Elliott. That scares me a little bit to my core. So the Browns and Taven Bryan, all right, they got to find some, better defensive tackles. Now, here's the Devonte Wyatt. Mostly an edge rusher. Mostly a run stopper, but he has great hustle. When you watch him play, he sticks with the play. He keeps up with the play and makes tackles way downfield. He's not someone that, play's gone that way, I'm going to stand right here and just catch my breath and catch up with them later. I understand it's a bit bold to think he's going to fall to Cleveland in round 2, but he would be this year's JOK. Because I remember doing mock drafts last year and having the Browns pick and joke in round 1. And then they got him in round 2. So you got to remember at times, this is the NFL draft. Players fall. Mock drafts aren't always right. Mock drafts have some guys go in round 1 and they don't go in round 1. Shit happens. So if Devonte Wyatt is there in round 2, you got to pounce on that. Maybe a bit ambitious. You look at the stats there, what he did this past season. But hey, it's my mock draft, and he was on the board when I was making it. So I'm not going to pass up on that. That would be a phenomenal pickup because every draft, there's a team in every round that's like, they got who in what round? Maybe this year it's the Browns in round 2. Why not, right? So let's keep moving on here in my mock draft. First, I want to ask this question. What's the Browns' biggest need? After I just went defensive tackle in round 2, what do you think? Should it be a wide receiver or somewhere on the defensive line? Whether it's edge rusher or some more interior defensive tackle, let me know what the biggest need is down below. Moving on to round 3. So here I am looking at my options after picking Devonte Wyatt in the second round. Got a couple edge rushers, a couple wide receivers. You know what? I'm going to go wide receiver. So how about John Metchie out of Alabama? He has fallen lately. He tore his ACL in the SEC championship game. And it's unfortunate because you do see players get hurt down the stretch, and it impacts their draft stock. And I understand why GMs do that. This is a $1 million investment in someone. They want to make sure they're healthy. Now, Metchie could help the Browns at that slot position where they're going to miss Landry and they got to find a replace someone there because that's not really Amari Cooper, and I don't see DPJ doing that. Maybe Schwartz, although he seems more of an outside guy. He does have that big play potential, though. That's what John Metchie does super well. That's what he did for the Crimson Tide. He just went off at times. You know, when Alabama wanted to score their 8th touchdown of the game, they go to him for his 4th of the game. Over 1,000-yard receiver, nearly 100 yards. The funny thing about Metchie is that he may be a phenomenal player in the NFL, but he was never even the best wide receiver on his own team. He had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Jamison Williams all above him the last 2 seasons. Who do you want the Browns to draft, though? Who is like your top guy that you'd like to see Cleveland get no matter what? Whatever round it may be, let me know who your number 1 target is in this mock draft or in this draft. On to round 3 now. I had them go back to defense with Myjai Sanders, the edge rusher out of Cincinnati. So let's talk about Sanders for a moment because he's a lengthy edge rusher, 6'5", about 240. The reason why I don't give an exact number is because it's unfortunate that when he was at the NFL Combine a month ago, he had a stomach bug in a couple days leading up to it and lost like 15 pounds and did not look good at the Combine. He was sick. I mean, have you ever had a bad day at your job because you were sick? It happens to the best of us. So, too bad to see him get a bit of that going on. Now, what I like about him a lot is he's not a one-trick pony. He's not just going to beat you with speed, or he's not just going to bull rush you with strength. He's got a nice balance. He's got a nice tempo between the two of them. And that's what led to him having a pretty good season for Cincinnati. 7.5 tackles for loss, couple sacks, pass breakups. He was pretty good. And I don't think he's no longer round 2 kind of potential. But if Cleveland wants to take a shot on him in 3rd round and let him be play 60% of the snaps, mostly on obvious passing situations, fine by me. Bring an extra edge rusher in. Let's break things up here because you guys, if you haven't noticed, I love asking questions just because I like to have you guys be interactive with the show. This isn't ESPN where you just have to listen to Stephen A. yell at you, and you're like, why is he so mad? I like to get you guys involved in the show. What's your personal biggest draft miss? Like, who was someone you were super high on, and then it just blew up in your face? I'm trying to think of mine. I like Sam Darnold a good amount, and that's not looking good right now. Now I let everyone know. So that's probably my most recent big miss. Recapping day 2, though. Devonte Wyatt, a steal in round 2. John Metchie and Sanders in round 3. And then we move on to round 4 now, and I have Cleveland help out that offensive line a little bit. They get Zach Tom out of Wake Forest. You don't know much about Zach Tom? That's fine. I wouldn't expect you to memorize Wake Forest offensive alignment. But here's what he does for you. He helps out with the Conklin and Wills, who've had those injury issues right there. He provides some depth. And in his time at Wake Forest, I'll let you know, I've watched his stuff. I've liked what I've seen out of him. He does have an issue, maybe a little holdy-holdy, but he's got good feet, he moves well, and he's got great size, 6'5", 300 pounds pretty much. In round 6, someone that probably won't be there. I think it's my fault. If you've watched my draft coverage going back to January, I've been on this guy from the start. Okay? Matt Araiza out of San Diego State, he's going to be a generational punter. If you took his stats from what he did with the Aztecs last year and put them in the NFL, he'd be number 1 by a mile. Literally, okay? Those are all the top punters in the NFL below him, and he's better. A better average. Look at his long, 86 yards. The next highest was 71 there. He blew it out of the water. He pinned the opponent within the 20-yard line 37 times. The next highest, 28. It's not even close. Andrew Berry, I know you're listening. I know you watch every show. Get him. Bring him home. He's not from Cleveland, but he will be after the draft. He probably won't even be there in the 6th round anymore because I've spoke about him so highly for 3 months now. I think I should get part of his signing bonus. Well, that's a different conversation, Matt. We'll talk about that after the show. But now everyone's onto the guy. I would love to see him rep one of these hats when he goes and gives Goodell a big smoochie. But everyone's big on Araiza now. He's the hottest topic. Our Dolphins guy at Chat Sports was talking about taking him in the 3rd round. Who remembers when the Raiders took a kicker in round 1? This could be that guy. He went to the freaking sun with the football. He probably went past the moon, past Saturn. I don't know my planets in order, but all the way to the sun. So make sure you get draft hats. Now I got to do my Fanatics read. Make sure you get them at chatsports.com/Browns hat. If you want to be wearing the same hats that maybe Devonte Wyatt wears when he gets picked by the Browns in round 2, then make sure you get that by going to chatsports.com/Browns hat. Links in the comments and the description. That's my love affair with Araiza. It's over now. Moving on to round 7, Kalon Barnes. You're like, how do I know that name? Why? Because he was that guy in the combine who had a super-duper fast 40, and he's really, really fast. Doesn't always mean you're good at football. Remember John Ross? He had that blazing 40, went to the Bengals in the first round, and then he's like, I'm actually just really fast. Like, I'm not good at the whole other part of the game, so just that's it. But I'll bet on speed in the 7th round. Why not? I'll take a chance on that. Next up is Lucas Krull, the tight end out of Pitt. Listen, out of Pitt. Cleveland needs a tight end, I think, right? You lose Austin Hooper, you let him go, add another depth piece in the 7th round. And I think Krull can do a good job. Krull, yeah, does a good job filling that in. 450 yards, 6 touchdowns. So I like the pick right here. I'm going to recap all of my picks right now in this mock draft here. We'll start on day 3. Zach Tom, Matt Araiza, Kalon Barnes, and Lucas Krull most recently. And then at the start, Devonte Wyatt, John Metchie, and Myjai Sanders. So that's my mock draft right there. What do you guys think about it? Grade my mock draft. Be harsh, because if you don't give me an F, you didn't do it right. That's what they say about mock drafts. A, B, C, D, or F. I think I'd give myself, like when you think about the Devonte Wyatt pick in the 2nd round, it's probably an A, right? I don't know, now I'm just, blasting myself here. I'll go B+. I'll humble myself. B+, B+, B+. All right, that's going to do it for us here on today's show. We'll catch you later with more Browns news and rumors.